Good morning, everyone, and welcome. What a tremendous day to be here in Rochester and in the Finger Lakes region. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some really important people in our community who are with us today. Our fairly newly elected county executive, my friend Cheryl Denalfos. Morning, Cheryl. Mayor Wally Warren is here as well. President and CEO of the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce, Bob Duffy. President and CEO of SUNY Polytechnic Institute, Dr. Elaine Calieros. President and CEO of ESD, Howard Zemsky. University of Rochester President, REDC Co-Chair, Joel Seligman. Wegmans Food Market CEO and REDC Co-Chair Danny Wegman. And the CEO of Kodak, Jeff Clark. Well, I can personally attest that we have a governor who has been nothing but laser focused on bringing back upstate New York. As someone who was born and raised in Buffalo, just down the Thruway, I've seen a renaissance that is now coming to this side of the Thruway. And I was so excited when this Regional Council was successful in winning one of the 3 URI awards. Let's give a round of applause for that great success. $500 million coming to this area. And you have already chartered a plan, and today is part of that, but you're going to see a lot of us, right, Governor, will be coming back here with incredible announcements over the next couple of years as this area really starts restoring its confidence in itself and the great things that are to come. It gives me great pleasure right now to introduce a man in this region who needs no recognition, one of the leading CEOs in our country, Danny Wegman from Wegmans. Danny?
Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I also like to recognize my co-partner in crime, Joel Seligman, who's done a great job on the Economic Council, Joel. So thank you. I think our future is extremely bright. And why? Well, over the last 5 years, we've gotten $425 million from the state. Thank you, Governor. We're anticipating $500 million coming next. Even more thank yous. And we've had thousands of jobs already, and we're going to get thousands more. So we're feeling very good. Why? We're thinking as a region, not as towns, counties, cities. Big change. We're choosing our best assets that will lift up the entire region. Here we are at the Eastman Business Park. This has been our #1 priority for 5 years. Jeff Clark, you've made it worth our while. You're kicking it now. You're doing a great job, and we believed in Eastman Business Park, and it's proving out. So thank you very, very much. We've got 1366 out in Batavia there that's providing many jobs and so on. Not to mention, how do I pronounce, photonics, is it? Okay. And optics and imaging, we're just extremely happy with the things that have been going on. Meanwhile, back on the farm, who would have suspected that agriculture and food production was a big deal here? Well, we used to be called the Flower City. What do you think you do with that? You make bread. Lots of bread. And we're making it organically. And it's a true transformation. And if it hadn't been for the council, we would never have brought together the agricultural and food production people to partner. The reason the partnership is so important is when you produce organically, you cannot put the same crop on the same field every year. You have to rotate crops, which means you need a lot of partners to do all this. And that's what's been happening, and that's why we're doing things that no one else can do, all because of the council and when it began 5 years ago. Now, I know that the governor likes to be the capital of certain things. I think we're the yogurt capital of the world, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps someday we can be the organic capital of the world. So there's just a thought ahead. Furthermore, many of the jobs that we're producing in agriculture and food production are really well suited for hard-to-place workers. And in our community in particular, that's what we really need. Now, growing up here in Rochester, I think most of us knew we had one serious problem, and that was a lot of poverty. The governor challenged us to address this issue, and we established the Rochester Monroe County Anti-Poverty Initiative, and we've been working on it for over 14 months, trying to get at the causes and the solutions to poverty. What have we found? I think we've found that there's a huge divide in our community. It was disappointing to hear this, but if you don't know what you're facing, you can't solve it. We're not working together in the way we should to address poverty. In fact, I really believe we have many of the solutions, but because we don't trust each other, we're not able to pursue those solutions with the determination that we need to do. I thank the RMAPI group. I thank the governor for giving us this challenge. I thank Mayor Warren, who I constantly remember, failure is impossible. Mayor, you keep us with that. I know we can solve this problem if we work together, and that's our future. Now, I have the honor of introducing a very good friend of mine, who I first met as the police chief. On the good side of that, by the way. Then he became mayor, and then lieutenant governor, of course. And why do I really like this individual? I really like him because I find that he's drawn to what's right. He's not drawn to what's politically expedient. If it's right, he's going to adopt it and make it his own. Doesn't matter where it came from. And the other thing that he does, he has a great way of working with everyone. He brings people together. And probably that's because he does go to do what's right. I'd like to introduce my good friend and a man I very much admire, the president and CEO of the Rochester Greater Chamber of Commerce, Bob Duffy.
Thanks, Danny. I walked into my first Wegmans a few blocks to the south on Driving Park with my mother at 4 years old, and I've been a raving fan of Wegmans and the Wegmans family ever since. So I thank you very much for your introduction. I want to welcome our great governor, Dr. Caleros, and our visitors here this morning. It's a very exciting day. My comments, I'm going to speak in threes. First of all, what is going on right now? Finger Lakes Forward is a message that has really been put forth by our great team, our regional council team, led by Danny, Joel Seligman, and many others in the room here. I thank them because they have really started with a tremendous plan. They have taken some great investments from our governor, and we are in the midst of a transformation in this region. Born and raised here, you're seeing a transformation before your very eyes right here in this region, thanks to people at the table and in this room. A couple of examples of that. New York State and our governor has invested $3.4 billion, billion with a B, since 2012. In this region right here. That is amazing. I have never seen anything like that. He has laid the groundwork and the playing field for us to be successful. And with the great team that we have here, the governor has shown tremendous confidence in us by that investment. Talk about AIM Photonics. We are the hub for AIM Photonics. It is a great partnership. The state has put forth $250 million. And with the New York State, with U of R, RIT, all our partners around the country, the hub is right here. But I want to reinforce that hub would not be here without a $250 million investment by our governor and the state to put it here. And that's going to be transformational for us. Eastman Business Park, Jeff Clark and his great team at Kodak was already mentioned. I'm going to point out, having had intimate knowledge about this park, worked at Kodak for a short time between high school and college, grew up in the Kodak neighborhood. This is the largest industrial park of its kind in the country. And right here, right now, we have 57 different companies, 4,500 jobs here and growing in advanced manufacturing, energy storage, next generation food processing, everything right here. And all this is going on right now, and URI money, not $1 has been spent yet. Number two, second point is what's going on outside of the URI and what's outside of the regional council. There are so many things going on in this region that we should be very, very proud of. $1 billion in planned private investment is on the table right now. It is going to be producing, we also produce right now the best wine, beer, beverages in the country right in this region. Our agriculture is second to none. And it is becoming really a place of investment and great confidence in this region based on the people that are here and the great history we have here and the great talent, but also based on the tremendous confidence and investment that this governor has put forth in us. I think 1366 Technologies is mentioned by Danny. They're creating jobs and moving it right along. And one thing that's not in the business world, but point of pride, we live in the Finger Lakes region, one of the most beautiful in the country, if not the world, and we have the #1 state park in America right in our region, Letchworth State Park. So it really runs the whole spectrum of investments and teamwork that are going on here. Last point I want to make is our governor. And folks, I've had the pleasure of working with him for 4 years. To me, it has been the honor of my entire career. The regional councils, which we tout, and they are a tremendous transformational method for economic development in upstate. But I'll start by saying no governor in my history, and no one that I could ever remember in our history, has invested more money and more time and shown more confidence in upstate New York than this governor has, right from the start. I mentioned the $3.4 billion, and that is growing. But he has stepped up. And a regional council concept, which I think is brilliant, I would love to be back in the mayor county executive's role now, because to have this opportunity right now is second to none. And this was, I'll take that back. No, I don't. But I'm saying that because to be in office at this time with the opportunity to work with the great business and academic leaders here is a tremendous time. And that concept was not dreamed up by a committee or a group. One person came up with the idea, and that was Governor Cuomo. One person, and when he was HUD secretary, this is what he wanted to do even before he came into office during the campaign. This is what he envisioned for the regional councils and for upstate and really around the state. It has been transformational. It is brilliant in terms of what he has done. In sidebar conversations, in meetings with him, it's not what the governor says publicly, but I can attest to time and time again his commitment to this region in upstate New York, what he's done privately behind the scenes. He has driven this process. He has driven it with investment and money. He has really put his money where his words have been time and time again, and he has done it flawlessly. I believe he's the best governor in the country. I believe he's the governor of upstate. He has been one that, again, we owe a deep debt of gratitude to. And things like the anti-poverty effort, which Danny had mentioned. We have a very high poverty rate here, but who has come in and invested money? Governor Cuomo. Who brought the key person for all the state agencies to be on the ground with the anti-poverty effort? Governor Cuomo. It's time and time again he has come back here to this region, the Rochester Finger Lakes region, as invested. I want to thank him publicly for all of his support for what he has done for us. I want to thank him for his friendship. I want to thank him for his support. And he's somebody both privately and publicly is, to me, a friend, a colleague, and a friend for life, but somebody I will be eternally grateful for what he has done to our hometown and our home region. So I want to thank him. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Howard Zemsky is the head, the leader, president, CEO of Empire State Development. And before that, he was the regional council chair in Buffalo. And before that, and probably continuing, a very successful business leader from Western New York. Howard is somebody I've found to be a brilliant business leader, no ego, wants to work with everybody. When I look at the regional council success in Buffalo and Western New York, and I'll let Lieutenant Governor know, Kathy, we're catching up with you because this area is on the move, but Buffalo has led the way, Western New York, with their transformation in the last few years. And I give Howard great credit for bringing a team together, much like Danny and Joel have done here, bring a team together, working seamlessly in that region and doing great things. We're lucky to have an Empire State Development. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Howard Zemsky. Howard.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Bob, thank you for that very kind introduction. It's great to be with you. I want to start by establishing some Rochester credibility. I'm a graduate of the University of Rochester Business School. So far, so many years ago that it wasn't even known as the Simon School back then. So I shouldn't date myself like that. But I am really, for 35 years, I've been a business person, and I'm proud to be associated with Empire State Development. I'm very proud to be the Governor's Commissioner of Economic Development. And what I've learned in business for 35 years, there's some axioms that are used that are always true. And in business, it's said that you invest in people first and foremost. You invest in people. And one of the things that I've noticed about Rochester over the years, and then again, most recently, I just spent like a day and a half nonstop in Rochester last week. And what always strikes me the most is how amazing the people are. And I want to just take a moment, if you don't mind, to introduce a few folks who haven't yet been introduced today, who I spent some time with most recently. And Vinny Esposito, who's our regional director at ESD, is such an important position in the governor's initiatives to turn around these economies. Having the right point person at Empire State Development is extremely important. Vinny, you have to come out from behind the curtain. And Mark Peterson's been like a pit bull for economic development for as long as I have known him. I get his phone calls now at ESD. I used to just be able to watch it from afar. Now those calls come in. So I want to recognize Mark as well. He's done a great job. And I just, I noticed that Hilda is here. We have an ESD board member who's with us as well, and they are very selfless people. They dedicate a lot of time to ESD and the economy, and I want to recognize Hilda Rosario Escher. Thank you, Hilda, for being here. And last week, and I'm not introducing all these folks, but I just want to let you know some of the people that make an impression on what's happening in Rochester, because you really need that core of people who are deeply committed and passionate. And I had the opportunity to meet with Heidi Zimmer Meyer, and it was extremely impressive. Rochester downtown development really gets the importance of downtown development to economic revival and revitalization. And I know the plan with the innovation zone and combining culture and commerce, and arts, it's fabulous. Creativity, culture, commerce is working together. I'm meeting young people here who are moved back, who are living downtown, who want to relocate. What success feels like in Buffalo is what it's now starting to feel like here in Rochester. It's when you talk to young people and they say, and I just moved back to Rochester. I grew up in Rochester. I love Rochester. I left Rochester. I'm coming back to Rochester. My friends are coming back to Rochester. And it's when you meet young people who say, I'm staying here in Rochester. That is what success in Buffalo feels like. That's what I know success here in Rochester is starting to feel like. There is nothing more important than that. If we keep losing young people, and keep in mind, we've lost every upstate region has lost a disproportionate share of young people. If we don't turn that tide like we're starting to now here, like we are in Buffalo, then we have continued population loss baked into the demographic cake. Downtown revitalization, density, creativity, vitality, community development, these are all part and parcel of economic development now, and we are focused on that. You are going to get tired of me here in this town. I am going to keep coming back. I'm going to meet with younger and younger and younger people, because the people who are young, the future belongs to them. You all know that. And we need to engage them in really deep and purposeful ways, and they represent the future of this community. So I'm looking forward to that. I recently met with a whole group of developers, 40 and under. I'm telling you, the amount of investment that's going on downtown, there's almost $1 billion of investment right now, right, Mayor, going on right in Midtown Rochester. It's stunning. And these folks are deeply committed to the future here. It's really very impressive. They're competitors and they're colleagues, and they all share this passion for Rochester. You know, if you're not from here, and I'm your upstate cousin from Buffalo, you don't sometimes realize the amazing assets that you have. You have these amazing assets. I met the Greentopia people, okay? I'm like, I want to meet the people who have a vision for cool Rochester. That is so cool. I can't believe I spent 2 years in graduate school in Rochester. I didn't know you had a major waterfall right in the middle of your city. They do not teach you that at Rochester. They want you to work all the time. But that is the coolest thing, that Greentopia. We got to do something with that. I'm just saying, there's some real opportunity there. And I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Leonard Brock, and I met with representatives from the United Way. It's so impressive how you are weaving together economic development, growth, vitality, workforce, and these initiatives around poverty. At the end of the day, the governor has told us, believe me, again and again, there is no success in economic development until we provide opportunity for everyone. And integrating economic development here with the Poverty Initiative is central to the way Rochester is going about doing its business. The fact that we are here today in Eastman Business Park, the fact that the plan talks about innovation zones, connecting jobs to people is about economic justice. The opportunity for folks to get training and then to get to employment, then you don't need a car. So downtown or at Eastman Business Park, jobs are accessible to everyone, and that's a critical component of economic development. So we are going to focus on workforce development, where you have second to none great organizations. We're going to focus on ingenuity and creativity and innovation, where you guys are second to none in all of upstate New York. Patents, venture capital, startup businesses, STEM degrees. You don't even realize yourselves the assets that you have in this community and how stunning they are. It's amazing. And you combine all of your commitment and the passion together, it is a no-brainer to bet on Rochester. It's a no-brainer to bet on Rochester. The governor is right. Your future is amazing here, and your assets are amazing here. It is my job to introduce somebody who, you know how if you're famous, you just go by one word like Cher? Well, if you're really famous, you just go by one letter, K. So it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce a man who's responsible for so much of the growth of the high-tech industry, including what's coming here in Rochester. Some people, if you want to be more formal, can call him Dr. Caballeros. If you want to be slightly less familiar, you call him Dr. K. And if you want to be even less familiar, just call him K. So just like Men in Black, the best of the best of the best. K. How's that for an introduction, K?
Thank you, Dr. Z. You brought tears to my eyes. Good morning. Who here thinks it's a good morning today? By show of hands. So let's try again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. It's something that I looked up. On this same exact day, March 16, 1950, New York City hired Dr. Wallace E. Howell as the city's official rainmaker. True story. So it is highly fitting that Rochester today is hosting the state's rainmaker, Governor Andrew Cuomo, to make this historic announcement. Well, there got to be an applause in here somewhere. Today may actually be more important than when Governor Cuomo and Vice President Biden announced photonics a few months back, because as exciting as that was, it was only the beginning. While the governor knew it all along, the rest of us are now seeing the wisdom of these investments. The growth of our photonics and high-tech cluster here, and the dawn of a new day in Rochester. Don't think we haven't gotten the off-hour phone calls, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10, from the governor telling us to get this deal done. Luckily, we weren't in our robes walking down the aisles of the food store like Howard Zemsky or Dr. Z. He said, get the manufacturing jobs here and keep photonics moving full steam ahead. And because of what these companies will do here, I won't even be able to use the excuse that my phone died anymore. But more on that. So now let's take a look at what this new partnership will bring. Video, please.
The Finger Lakes region is on the move, moving forward with 2 photonics companies coming to New York. The Regional Economic Development Council's winning Upstate Revitalization Initiative plan identified photonics as key to growing the region's economy. As the optics industry was central to the region's past, photonics is its future. New York State is more than living up to its role as the photonics capital of the world.
AIM Photonics is going to act as a central hub and will give Rochester Optics business the space and the capacity they need to generate the next generation breakthroughs.
Coming to Rochester's Canal Ponds clean room facilities and Eastman Business Park are Photonica Inc. and Avigi. Photonica Inc. is a leader in next-generation visual and display technologies, revolutionizing large video displays, televisions, 3D displays, and consumer mobile devices. Avigi will move its operations from the Silicon Valley to Rochester. The company has developed industry-first power-efficient, low-cost power electronics that are smaller, lighter, more reliable, and use less energy to power everything from cell phones to automobiles. Excitement is in the air as this collaborative public-private partnership between AIM Photonics, SUNY Poly, and the two companies is re-energizing the region. This Upstate Revitalization Initiative is accelerating the Finger Lakes forward.
Thank you. I would like to recognize the CEO of Avigi, Dinesh Ramanathan. Please stand up and be recognized. And the Chairman and Chief Technologist of Photonica, Sutherland Elwood Jr., please. On a personal note, working with Governor Cuomo on all these amazing projects, putting people to work, revitalizing communities, providing unmatched opportunities for students and faculty to intersect with the private sector has been the absolute highlight of my career in public service. So thank you, Governor, very much for the opportunity to serve. And, you know, say what you will about Italy. Love Italy, hate Italy. But there are two things that Italy does very well. One, and the governor might disagree, cars by the name of Ferrari. And the other one is New York State elected leaders by the last name Cuomo. So Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. I'm going to stand, if you don't mind, because I can't see the people in the back. This is such an exciting, exciting day, and I am so glad to be part of it. First, to the people who made this all happen, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, who we said when she started she had big shoes to fill, literally. She's been doing a great job. She is championing these REDCs all across the state. You're going to be seeing a lot more of her. Let's give her a round of applause. Danny Wegman and Joel Seligman, who have been doing the Regional Economic Development Council as co-chairs and have had great success at great, great effort. We want to give them a round of applause. Howard Zemsky was the master of the Buffalo Revitalization Plan, which is really a situation that should get national recognition for the most dramatic turnaround of an older industrialized city to a city of tomorrow. And he made it happen, and as Bob Duffy said, our formula is a different formula. The approach that we started a few years ago was never done before. The laboratory in some ways was Buffalo, and that's why Howard Zemsky is so important. He perfected the formula in Buffalo, and now he is charged with bringing it all across upstate New York. He is doing a magnificent job. He's one of those people who doesn't have to do this. He's been a successful businessman. He has other interests, but he's doing it for all the right reasons. It's pure public service. Let's give him a round of applause. Howard Zemsky. I don't want to compete with Howard's introduction of Dr. Calleros because, as usual, Howard brought his own personal flair to it. Some people call him K. I call him Special K. And it has nothing to do with the breakfast cereal. Special K has really figured out first in this country how to make marriages between governments, state governments, local governments, and the companies and technology of tomorrow. He was the first to figure that out. We are blessed to have him here in the state of New York. He has had an impact literally all across this state, from one end to the other. And we've had a phenomenal resurgence in upstate New York, and it wouldn't have happened without Special K, Dr. Calleros. So we thank him. Now, Bob Duffy, I miss very much on a personal level. He was a great mayor, great police commissioner. He was a phenomenal partner to me for 4 great years. We worked harder than any 2 human beings on the planet, but we did a lot of good. And in some ways, where we are today really completes the circle for Bob and myself. Bob didn't really want to become lieutenant governor, didn't want to go to Albany. But my point to Bob was, you're not going to fix Rochester from Rochester. And you're not going to fix Buffalo from Buffalo, and you're not going to fix Syracuse from Syracuse. It is not about the city. The problem is bigger than the city, frankly. The city, left to their own devices, they're not generating enough business and enough income to be viable. And at the end of the day, a city is an economic unit, it's a corporation. It has to be economically viable. And to be economically viable, you need income. And the upstate cities cannot create income. And we have to come up with a statewide strategy that works with all of them. On that basis, Bob Duffy comes to Albany. We then develop the Regional Economic Development Council approach, because it's not just money, it's how you use the money, which is even more important. Government is very good at throwing money at problems without results. We want to invest in economic development, but we want that investment directly tied to job creation. We have put $1 here, we want a job coming out the other side. And our approach was organic, from within, et cetera. So we designed a new model, we designed a new formula. We then started to deploy it most aggressively in Buffalo first. Why? Well, you love Buffalo more. No, I don't love Buffalo more. Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, these are all like having children, right? You love each one the same. Buffalo first, because Buffalo had the greatest challenge. Buffalo, on the numbers, posed the greatest challenge. And we wanted to say, let's see if we can make it work in the toughest situation, because if you can make it work there, you can make it work in Rochester, Syracuse, et cetera. So 5 years later, which is a relative blink in the eye for a government that is trying to enact a transition, a transformation as aggressive as ours, 5 years later, you really see it coming together. And you hear it. But the context is important. You heard about the multifaceted aspect of the Rochester's plan, which is exactly right. A workforce training and preparation approach for the new century, because we've been doing it wrong for a lot of years. Growing agriculture, and I'm with Danny Wegman. There is a future in agriculture for organic and healthy foods. More and more people want to know what they're eating. They want to know where it came from, what country it came from, what products are in it. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity for New York agriculture as being the most safe food. We have a whole New York State certified program now that will give our products a leg up on any other products. The Anti-Poverty Initiative, because it's not enough just to move the top end up. And we talk about all these high-paying, high-skilled jobs. You want to bring everyone up, right? The greatest success is shared success. That's the Anti-Poverty Initiative. But the heart, the engine, is get the economy running, create jobs, replace the economic function for Rochester. And the question was, 5 years ago, I would meet with mayors, county executives, and I would pose a question that they found shocking. I'd say, what business are you in? And they said, what do you mean, what business? I'm a politician. I'm a mayor. Well, I'm in no business. I said, no. What business is Rochester in? What is your business? What do you make? What do you sell? Where does your income come from? And government doesn't think that way. But that is the truth. What is Rochester doing from a commercial business point of view that makes you competitive and is going to make you income? And all across upstate New York, the answer was basically, I don't know. We used to do this. Buffalo, we used to be in the steel business, but then steel closed down. Rochester, we used to have big aggressive in this and aggressive in this and big in this, but that scaled down. We knew the past, we didn't see the future. And this was not unique to upstate New York. This is an American issue, because this nation took a trajectory 20 years ago that did not serve us well. We had a different economic vision. We said, we're going to let all those manufacturing jobs go, and we're going to let them go to other countries because we can't compete for the manufacturing jobs. Their cost of labor is much cheaper. So we'll let those go, and our economy will be an intellectual property economy, a high-tech economy. Our economy is going to be patents and copyrights and higher education. That was the plan. The plan had a few problems. When you let those manufacturing jobs go overseas or go to other countries, you displace a whole part of the workforce that doesn't have the skill set to compete in this new higher-end economy and can't really be retrained to be part of that higher-end economy. It's part of what the anger you still see out there now, I believe. And there's a lot of anger. You have people, middle class, working men, working women, who have been displaced. One of the other problems we had, you just don't generate enough jobs on the top end. And what we found out was that top-end product, we can spend a year developing a patent, they steal it in 24 hours. It's gone. Intellectual property is very valuable for a very short period of time, because once it's in the marketplace, it's gone. So we had to retrench, and we had to realize we do need to make things in this country. You want to have a sustainable economy, a viable economy, you have to make something. You have to produce something. Okay, we're not going to produce low-end goods because we can't be competitive there, but we can do advanced manufacturing. What is advanced manufacturing? Advanced manufacturing is high-end manufacturing. It's R&D that meets manufacturing. We design a new product, but then we develop that new product in the next breath. And then we make the product a little better, and then we build the little better product. And the art form became picking the cluster economy in advanced manufacturing. R&D meets manufacturing, where you could be competitive and you can win. Rochester said photonics. Everybody had to go to the dictionary, look it up, find out what it meant. Photonics built on your intellectual investment historically in optics. That's where you invested, that's where you grew, that's where you had talent, and it's the next generation of optics, photonics. And then the formula that we deployed, developed the best R&D facility in the nation, Canal Ponds. The companies that are reliant on that R&D will come to you because you have the R&D facility. What was the Dr. K miracle in Albany? the state owned clean rooms that company needed to do nanotechnology. By the way, the clean rooms cost billions of dollars. So companies couldn't afford to build their own clean room. Dr. Calleros' genius was, you can come and use our clean room. You will have to pay us, and you will have to be here to do it, and you'll have to locate your business here, but you can use our clean room. And our clean room stays here. And we continually update the clean room, so it's always the state of the art, and the companies that need the state of the art, so they come here. That's Photonics in Rochester. The state of the art R&D is here, and companies will come. The R&D establishment got a big shot in the arm when the vice president came and said federal research on photonics is going to be in Rochester. But the private sector companies will come. And today, the private sector companies are coming. Now, Dr. K did that very nice video, but sort of gave short shrift to the impact of this. Avergy Photonica, between the two companies, a $1.6 billion investment, 1,400 new jobs coming to Rochester. Avergy just handed me this. It's a laptop charger, plus you charge your laptop, your phones, etc. I'm not marketing the product. Well, maybe I am marketing the product. Go out today and get a laptop charger plus. Mention my name and you'll get a 10% discount. The computer chip that is in this charger is going to be built here and developed and refined here in this continual evolution on the high-tech side to make that chip smaller, tighter, better, smarter than everybody else's chip. And this is advanced manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing. We're not making wooden benches anymore, but we are making computer chargers, laptop chargers, et cetera. This is advanced manufacturing. And this is the future for the economy. And it is coming together remarkably fast. We had the vice president here just a few months ago talking about the federal grant, talking about canal ponds, seeing that research facility develop, and now you see with these companies how quickly it all comes together. So I am excited, and the future is bright, and you see it right there in front of you, right there in front of you. The state has made a significant investment by Danny Wegman's numbers, $400 for the REDCs, $500 for the URI. Rounded off, it's about $1 billion for Rochester. I'm going to call it the Rochester Billion, is what I'm going to call it. You get my bird? It's a private joke, but it's not that private. Not in Rochester, it's not. And as Bob said, overall, the state has invested $3.4 billion in Rochester. We have invested more money in upstate New York than any administration in history, tenfold. And we have been laser focused on upstate. Why? Because upstate has been given short shrift by Albany for years and years and years. Because the political power in this state is in downstate New York, and when it comes to doing a budget, when it comes to passing legislation, when it comes to allocating funds, downstate New York is where the bulk of the political power is. So we compensated because upstate New York is where the need is. The downstate economy is much stronger in terms of growth than the upstate economy. So we purposefully and proudly compensated. I used to say to Bob, we're going to put our thumb on the scale to tip the scale in Upstate's favor. Overall, we've invested over $25 billion in 5 years in Upstate New York, and it's paying dividends, and it's a worthwhile investment. My last point to you is this, and it's a personal point. It's all there for you. The conversation I had with Bob Duffy 5 years ago to get him to go to Albany was right, was true, and is vindicated today. You have a statewide program, more state investment than ever before. You have a program in front of you that, if you just follow through, can change the future dramatically for this region. You know it can change the future dramatically, and if you doubt it, take a ride to Buffalo and have Dr. Zemensky take you for a tour of Buffalo and let him talk about the old Buffalo and the new Buffalo. So we know we can do it. But you have to do it. You have to do it. Howard Zemsky can't do it for you. Dr. Calleros can't do it for you. The lieutenant governor can't do it for you. You have to do it. We have a new county executive. It reminds me of the story of the farmer and the flood. Do you know the story of the farmer and the flood, county exec? You need to know this story. And it's apropos today. It's a farmer who lives out in the rural part of the county. And the county officials are monitoring the weather, and they see that a rainstorm is coming. And it starts to rain heavy, and they say, you know what, the rain is even going to get heavier. So the county officials get in this big truck, and they drive out to the rural part of the county. They go to the farm, and they see the farmer, and they say, you know, the big storm is coming. I don't know if you've heard the reports. There's a lot of rain out there now, but it's only going to get worse. But don't worry, we have a big truck. We're going to take you and your belongings to safety. And the farmer looks at them and says, no, I'm a God-fearing man. I go to church every Sunday. The Lord will take care of me. And they go back and forth a little bit, but they get frustrated. They leave. Sure enough, the rain keeps coming, the rain keeps coming. And now there's 6 feet of water out there. County officials are industrious. They get a boat. They go back out to the farm in the boat. And they say to the farmer, we told you it was going to rain, right? And now there's 6 foot of water out there, but don't worry, we have a boat. And we're going to put you and your belongings in the boat, and we're going to take you to safety. The farmer says, no, I'm a God-fearing man. I go to church every Sunday. The Lord will take care of me. And they said, I know, you said that last time. But it's really serious now. Please get in the boat. Farmer refuses. Dejected, county executives leave. Rain keeps coming. The dam breaks on the reservoir. Now there's a colossal flood. And the farmer is standing on the roof of his farmhouse, and the water is up to the farmer's neck. Only the farmer's head is above the water. And he hears a loud rumble up above, and the clouds start to part. And it's a helicopter, and it's the county officials in a helicopter. And the county officials throw out a rope. And the rope is right next to the farmer, and they yell down, grab the rope and we will pull you to safety. And the farmer looks up with just his head above and says, no, I'm a God-fearing man. The Lord will take care of me. I go to church every Sunday. And they said, forget that. Grab the rope. It's your last chance, man. Grab the rope. No, the Lord will take care of me. Next scene, the farmer's at the pearly gates. And he meets our Lord at the pearly gates. And our Lord says, welcome to heaven. The farmer says, thank you. It's better than the alternative. And the farmer says, Lord, I have one question. You know, I'm a little confused. I was a God-fearing man. I went to church every Sunday. I thought you would take care of me. And our Lord looked back at the farmer and said, you're confused. I'm confused. I sent a truck, a boat, and a helicopter. What happened? At one point, it is up to you, my friends. $1 billion in economic development money, $3.4 billion. Vice President of the United States bringing a photonics federal research facility. Company moves from Silicon Valley to Rochester, New York. Photonica, an international company, coming to Rochester, New York. You see it happening. You feel it happening. It's up to you to take the ball and run. It's up to you to take the ball and run. And we said one thing from the beginning. The regions that thrive are the unified regions where people work together. They put aside competition for cooperation. They disregard government boundaries. It's not about city, it's not about county, it's a region. The economy doesn't work within a city, within a county. It works as the region. The academic universities, together with the businessmen, together with the politicians, all together, unified works. Teams work. Single focus, everybody identifying the goal works. That is up to you. It is all there for you to do it. We'll be doing everything we can, but the future is bright. We just have to proceed down the path, and I have no doubt that the Finger Lakes are going to be moving forward faster and better and stronger than anyone would have predicted just a few years ago. Congratulations on today.
On behalf of a grateful upstate New York, we thank you for the truck, the boat, and the helicopter. I assure you, as an upstater, we will take advantage of that. And I will just say, it's more than just the tangible. It's more than just the jobs, the economic development, the opportunities that are coming. It's also about your faith in us has now renewed our faith in ourselves, Governor. And that's something that I feel from Buffalo to Rochester, all across the state of New York. And that is something that we did not have before. We have it now. And that's why the Finger Lakes are going forward. So thank you, Governor.